Is it possible that the reason you've been feeling foggy, exhausted, or anxious might not be what you think? It might actually be sitting on your dinner plate or not sitting there. Today, we're diving into something that really surprised me at the massive difference it made for me. How the nutrients we put in our bodies can make or break our mental health. Stick around because by the end of this episode, you'll discover the 3 most common nutrient deficiencies that mess with your mood. Plus, I've got a great smoothie recipe and a free downloadable worksheet to help you track your own nutrient journey. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Hey there, and welcome back to Hope Regained, the podcast where we talk about real life struggles and real hope. I'm your host, Christiane Boudreau. And if you're new here, welcome to the family. Hit that subscribe button because we drop a new episode every week. So let me ask you something. Have you ever had one of those days where you just feel off? Like you slept enough hours, but you're still exhausted. You try to focus, but your brain feels like it's swimming through mud. Maybe you're more irritable than usual, or that anxiety is creeping in for no apparent reason. Yeah, I've been there. And for the longest time, I thought it was just stress. Or maybe I wasn't meditating enough, or journaling enough, or doing all the self-care things we're supposed to do. But then I discovered something that honestly, I had no clue how much of an impact it could have. Sometimes our mental health struggles aren't just in our heads. They're in our bodies. More specifically, they're about what we're feeding our bodies or not feeding them. Today, we're talking about the powerful connection between nutrition and our mental health. And I promise to keep this fun, relatable, and totally judgment-free. Because let's be real, we've all had those weeks where dinner is basically whatever doesn't require a plate. Your body is your most faithful companion. You feed it with intention, and it will carry you towards hope. Okay, it's story time again. And I know I do this to you all the time. But I'm going to tell you, about 5 years ago, I hit a wall. And I'm not talking about a little bump. I'm talking about a full-on crash. I was exhausted all the time, and my mood was all over the place. And I just felt heavy. Not physically heavy, but emotionally heavy. Like I was dragging myself through every day. Yes, a part of that is perimenopause, which I'm sure we'll get to in another episode because I've done so much research and learned lots that medical help won't help you with or doctors won't tell you. But when I went to the doctor this time, expecting them to tell me I had some scary diagnosis, you know what they found? I was severely deficient in vitamin D, B12, and iron. That's it. 3 main vitamins. Plus there was one extra one that helped calm the anxiety, and get better sleep at night. So we'll talk about these. Once I started supplementing and actually paying attention to what I was eating, things started to shift. Not overnight, it takes time, but gradually. And my energy came back, my mood stabilized, and I started to feel like myself again. It made me realize something huge. We talk so much about mental health, including therapy, meditation, and mindfulness. And those things are incredibly important. But we don't talk enough about the foundation, the little building blocks our brain needs to function. Your brain is an organ, right? Just like your heart or your lungs, and organs need fuel. They need specific nutrients to do their jobs. When we don't give our brains what they need, they start sending us signals. And sometimes those signals look a lot like depression. They can look like anxiety and also a heavy brain fog. I'll give you 5 warning signs to watch for. Nutrition isn't just about feeding your body. It's about nourishing the hope within you. Okay, let's get into the science. But don't worry, I'm going to make this as painless as possible. No boring lectures here, or at least I hope. Think of your brain like a city. It's got billions of little workers, which are your neurons, that need to communicate with each other to keep everything running smoothly. They do this through chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. You've probably heard some of them. Serotonin, which is common, dopamine, which I'm sure is quite common, and GABA, which is a little less common, and I've had to do some research and look that one up. It's an acronym, of course. Here's the thing. Your body makes these 3 neurotransmitters from the food that you eat. Serotonin is our happy chemical. About 90% of it is actually produced in your gut. Wild, right? Hard to believe that your gut impacts your brain so much. So when we're not eating the right nutrients, our brains literally can't produce enough of these feel-good chemicals. It's like trying to bake a cake without flour. You can follow all the other steps perfectly, but you're still not getting a cake. Let me break down these big players for you. Vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. We need it for mood regulation. Low vitamin D is linked to depression and seasonal affective disorder. And you've probably heard it called SAD, which is how you start to feel. And here's the problem. Most of us are deficient, especially if we live in places with long winters or spend most of our time indoors. And this one I know very well because I live in Calgary, Alberta, and our winters are very long and very cold. I become a hermit because -20, -30 is not for me. Therefore, a vitamin D deficiency is common. Another impact is age. And the older we get, vitamin D can start to decrease. Being over 50, you really have to watch that one. Then there are the B vitamins. That's the energy team. These guys are crucial for energy production and brain function. So B12, B6, and folate help create these neurotransmitters that we talked about. When you're low, you might feel foggy in the brain, or tired, or just down. Omega-3 fatty acids are the brain builders. Your brain is literally made up of fat, about 60% of it. Omega-3s help build brain cells and reduce inflammation. Studies also show that it can help with depression and anxiety. Magnesium, the calm down mineral. And like I said in the beginning, this one is really great for helping you get a better night's sleep and for reducing anxiety. It helps your nervous system relax. And guess what? Most of us don't get this one either. Then there's iron. This is an oxygen carrier. It carries oxygen through your bloodstream to your brain. And without enough of it, you start to feel exhausted. And at the same time, you won't be able to focus, and it can create some depression. So this is especially common in women, especially after having children and because of our menstrual cycles, the blood loss. So we're quite often more of a candidate for anemia, which is a really reduced iron level. This one I also know very well. So, what are the warning signs that your body is trying to tell you? Well, this is where we can get practical. Yeah, we all want to be a Google doctor or look up our symptoms. But if we really start to pay attention to our body and the signs, we could start to notice some of the nutrition deficiencies. And not always is our doctor going to say, well, it might be attributed to this. When we have symptoms, we need to start looking at underlying reasons. And your body is really good at sending these signals to you. We just need to learn to listen. So red flag number 1 is you're tired all the time. So even after sleeping 8 hours or more, this could be an iron deficiency, a B12 deficiency, or a vitamin D deficiency. I call it the kind of tired that no coffee can help. And that also includes energy drinks and chocolate. I've tried them and they don't work, not by themselves anyway. Red flag number 2 is your mood is always a roller coaster, just up and down all the time. Mood swings, irritability, or feeling anxious, more anxious than usual at least. That could be related to your vitamin Bs or omega-3s and also your magnesium levels. Again, like I said, I take magnesium every single night because it also helps me get a good night's sleep. You rest better, less nightmares is what I find. Red flag number 3, brain fog becomes your new normal. If you can't focus, or maybe you start forgetting things, little things here and there, not just age related or early onset dementia or anything like that, but forgetting the small things, just cloudy judgment. It feels like you're thinking through cotton. This could be a vitamin B12 deficiency, an iron deficiency, or an omega-3 deficiency. Then there's red flag number 4. You're not bouncing back from stress like we should be. The resilience just isn't there. If things start feeling more overwhelming than usual, or you can't seem to regulate your emotions, no matter how much you try and you work on it, your body might be lacking in the nutrients it needs to produce the stress managing hormones. Then there's red flag number 5. These would be sleep issues. So if you have trouble falling asleep or you can't stay asleep, that's often linked to magnesium, B vitamins, or a vitamin D deficiency as well. So you can see that some of these overlap one another. And a lot of times, if we're lacking in one, we're quite often lacking in another. Here's my one friendly reminder I'm going to give to you. I'm not a doctor. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms, please talk to your healthcare provider first and get your levels checked. Blood work can be your friend. Just ask them to check your vitamin levels. These can be seen in blood tests. And this is how my doctor found it for me. He found that the lack in vitamin D specifically, and definitely my iron. So it gives you a starting point, but you want to make sure it's not anything more serious. Self-care isn't selfish at all. It's the foundation upon which hope is built, one nutrient at a time. Okay, so now we need to start looking at solutions because awareness is great, but action is going to be where the magic happens. First things first, get tested. Like I said, doctors can do a workup and a complete nutrient panel, and they can figure out where your baseline is. You can't fix what you don't know is broken. So first and foremost, make sure these aren't symptoms of anything else going on. Step number 2 is eat the rainbow. And what does that mean? Well, it means making sure you eat different colored foods. That makes sure that you're touching all the different food groups. So dark leafy greens count for your magnesium and your folate, and orange and yellow foods for vitamin A. Berries carry your antioxidants, and you can get your reds, meats, and your spinach, nuts. Those different colors also supply you with iron. So as you can see, you need the wide range there. Then step number 3 is going to be prioritize these brain-loving foods. Fatty fish, which is salmon, sardines for your omega-3s, eggs for vitamin Bs and choline, nuts and seeds for magnesium and healthy fats, leafy greens for folate and minerals, fermented foods for gut health. Remember, your gut health equals mental health, and dark chocolate for magnesium. Yes, you can really have chocolate for your health, but just remember it needs to be 70% or higher cocoa for it to count, not the milk chocolate or white chocolate type. Step number 4 is you need to start considering quality supplements. No matter how healthy we eat, quite often the foods that we eat don't carry the amount of nutrients that we need, and we need to supplement it. They're not like they used to be if they're just homegrown in your garden, and they lose nutrients on their way to travel to the grocery stores or when they're cooked down. So if you work with your healthcare provider, they may help you with the good quality types of supplements. Not all supplements are created equal, and a lot of them out there have a lot of fillers, and you want to try to avoid these. Step number 5 is to be consistent. This is not going to be a quick fix. Think of it as watering a plant. One glass of water isn't going to revive a dried out plant, but consistent watering over time will bring it back to life. It's something that we have to make a conscious decision of, and it's a lifestyle choice. Don't look at it as a diet, but a lifestyle choice to feel better about who we are every day. And step number 6 is mind your gut. Since so much of our neurotransmitter production happens in our gut, care of it is important. So probiotics, fiber-rich foods, reducing processed foods can make a huge difference. Remember, I do have a great smoothie recipe for you that helps with all of this. Sometimes it's easier to drink them up rather than eat the foods. It can help hide the yuck. So stick around for that one. I want to be real with you for a second. Eating well isn't always easy. It's not always convenient. And another big issue these days is it's not always cheap. I really get it. And I've been the person eating cereal for dinner because I'm just exhausted. You work a lot of overtime, or you're rushing when you get home to take the kids to their sports. I've been that person to run through the drive-thru because cooking felt impossible. I've been there. And I've also been the single mom counting pennies for each and every meal. There are ways to eat healthy on a low budget. Maybe I'll do an episode on that to help. And if you drop it in the comments that you want it, I will work on some of those where you can get the tasty foods for a reasonable price. Cooking is my jam. And there's also the whole idea of batch cooking. And I've done a lot of this in my time as well. So we could do more on that. Again, just link it in the comments below. Let me know if you want to hear some, and I'll build those episodes that you need. It isn't about being perfect, and it's not about never having the pizza or ice cream or whatever else brings you joy, like my glass of wine now and then. It's about awareness, and it's about making small, sustainable, and realistic changes that add up over time. So maybe this week, just add 1 serving of leafy greens to your day. That's huge. And maybe you start taking a vitamin D supplement and B, and maybe you swap your afternoon candy bar for a handful of nuts just a few times a week. Small steps, my friends, just baby steps, but consistent ones. And here's the beautiful thing. When you start nourishing your body properly, it gets easier. You'll have more energy to cook and you'll crave healthier foods. Your mood will start to improve and it will make everything seem much more just doable. Hope doesn't come from perfection. It comes from the courageous choice to take one small step toward a better tomorrow. And you can do it. You just have to hang in there. We've talked about how nutrition impacts mental health, the warning signs to watch for, and practical steps you can take today. But remember that smoothie recipe I promised? Here it is. This is what I call my Hope Regained mood boosting smoothie. You take 1 cup of spinach, which is your folate and magnesium, 1 banana, which includes your B6 and potassium, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. This provides you with omega-3s, 1 tablespoon of almond butter, which will give you magnesium and healthy fats, half a cup of frozen berries for your antioxidants, and they can be any of your berries that you like or your favorite, but I prefer the mixed kind. 1 cup of unsweetened almond milk. That is a very healthy milk substitute, I guess I would say. And I used to use it all the time because my son had asthma and it helped reduce the mucous membranes. And optional, if it's something that you carry around for that extra boost, 1 scoop of protein powder. So you blend that all up together and then boom, you've got a brain nourishing goodness all in 1 glass. And sometimes that's what it takes for us to get some of those leafy greens in there to get rid of the flavor. Like I said, hide the yuck. Not all of us have been used to or enjoy eating healthy vegetables. So before you go, make sure to download the free worksheet that I created for this particular episode. It's called My Nutrient Awareness Journal. And you can grab it at www.hoperegained.com. It'll help you track how you're feeling, what you're eating, and start making sense of the connections between nutrition and your mental health. I'll also drop the recipe on our website for you to print so that you can make that smoothie for yourself. You're not broken. Sometimes you're just hungry for the right nutrients, for connection, for hope. And all of those are within your reach. If this episode resonated with you, please share with someone who needs to hear this message. Subscribe to the podcast, give us a thumbs up, and drop a comment telling me what's 1 small nutrition change you're going to make this week. Also, let me know if you do want to spend some time in my kitchen with me to learn how to make those low budget meals that are healthy and still taste good, and do some batch cooking to make it easier when you're on the go. Remember, hope isn't just a feeling. It's a choice we make every single day. And sometimes that choice looks like feeding ourselves well, not just with food, but with kindness, compassion, and yes, patience. You're worth it. So I'm so grateful that you were here today, and I can't wait to share more with you the next time, next week. See you then.